It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi everyone, I'm Gary Shorman and this is the Forum on Eagle Television. Good to have you watching along. Our guest is Aaron White, and Aaron is the Executive Director of the Ellis County Coalition for Economic Development.
Correct.
Right? Did I get all those
you got
words?
it. It's a mouthful,
I
but you
almost
got
said
it.
them right here, but it's quite a process when you talk about economic development in general. There's a couple of specific things Aaron liked to talk about. But first off, in the world of economic development, you hear some really interesting stories, like the new Amazon place that, Amazon
Absolutely.
is looking to put 50,000 people somewhere. How do you play in that kind of world when it's big companies, and what do you look for in economic development?
For our community, we really look for things that are scaled and appropriate for Hayes in terms of personnel resources and the skill set that's available.
So Amazon, it doesn't really fit here.
No, Amazon at 50,000 people, we have an unemployment base of about 700 people, and there's only 90,000 people or so that live in the entire 18-county quadrant in northwest Kansas. So even if we wanted to bring them in, they would never give us a serious look. What they look for is the ability to attract enough workforce and have all the amenities to bring those folks in, because they know everybody won't come from the community they move to, so they have to be able to recruit those folks in from all over the country, all the different skill sets they'll need. And it's a big process. They look for folks, and they look for areas that have an interest for that, have a background in that, have other clusters of that size of corporation available there, and so it's a difficult process. We look for projects that are in the 200 person, looking for higher paying skill sets, technology based, but 250 is probably the hiring number. That's our bread and butter. We could potentially go a little bigger if they're willing to work with us in terms of training programs, but that's probably about the cap that we really focus on realistically.
You know what, there's some advantages to communities like Western Kansas and ours, where you have a workforce that maybe does better work, but you don't have all the competition that you do in the big communities. If you're competing with great big companies, whether it be nationwide companies or even great big regional companies, having a workforce that is very competitive, that works hard like we do in Western Kansas, that gives you a story to tell.
Absolutely, and one of the things we look at is our biggest employment sectors are actually in education, healthcare, and retail and service. And obviously, we look for opportunities to bring in technology or businesses that can draw from other pools of industries and move them up in the wage scale. So having a broader district, and our labor pool actually, we heavily draw from about 45 miles around Hayes. And that's something that we tell companies that we look to try and recruit in, is that we can draw somebody from 50 miles away into Hayes, whether it's for shopping or for a job. It takes them less time to drive that 50 miles to Hayes than it does to take them to drive across town Chicago. That ability to hit a commuting workforce and being a hub that we can provide a lot of amenities to the surrounding communities, they suddenly become our bedroom communities, our suburbs, and we support them by providing other levels of jobs and retail that they can attract themselves, and then they help us out by having a whole new housing base for potential employees or folks to reside in.
Where do you find these companies that you recruit or go after? How do you get them?
We do a variety of different ways. We have a real strong working relationship with the Department of Commerce. So their recruitment team, when they see leads, they put those out on a state header in communities that have the capacity to hit the requirements, the nomenclature, as you were, of these companies. We'll format an RFP, we'll format our submission, includes site, includes community demographic, transportation, logistics information, and then we submit that to the state, and that goes on to the client. Through a generous grant from the Bob and Patricia Schmidt Foundation, we also have recently piloted or tried to pilot subscription or membership to the World Economic Development Alliance. This is an organization that also works with companies that are looking to relocate. Only they do a little differently. They don't charge the company a fee to help them find a new location. They simply provide the leads to their membership along with a number of other services. So their typical business that works with WIDA is smaller. Projects are much smaller scale, so we're not constantly getting leads from them that's for 2,000 and 3,000 employees that want a 500,000 square foot of retail, of workspace. The projects that we see from them are more appropriately scaled to the community. 50 to 100,000 square foot of facility, 100, 200 employees, want to be on the interstate, want to be centrally located. So it's been a really good so far lead generator for us.
That's probably the biggest challenge. You got to find somebody to tell your story to and tell those great things that are happening in our part of the world. One of those, you're working on this probably is on the smaller end. You talk about, the great big companies, and you talk on the smaller end. Co-working environment, that's something new that you're working on.
Absolutely.
Co-working, what does that mean for somebody sitting there going, what's a co-working environment? What does that do?
Co-working space, the simplest analogy I use is it's like a gym membership, only you pay your monthly membership. Instead of having access to exercise equipment, you have access to an office environment where you can grab a workstation that's available. You're networked into a commercial grade copy, printer, scanner, fax, the paper's included. You have no other cost to do it, and you can sit down and conduct a business or work for another employer as a telecommuter. Telecommuters, we're actually seeing a large number of those in the community, surprising number of those in the community. This might be an example of a gentleman who's interested in our co-working space. He's a software engineer, works out of his basement for a company in Minneapolis or in Minnesota, and he's been doing that for 6 years. And what our co-working facility tries to bring is a sense of community and collaboration. I mean, this gentleman is tired of sitting alone in his basement working day in and day out, not being able to interact with other folks. That's the downside to working out of your house, whether it's your own business or telecommuting for an employer in Chicago or Dallas or whatever. Sense of isolation, you have a hard time separating personal life from work life because you're living in your workspace. Distractions from kids or pets or everything else that goes on tends to make these home offices not as ideal as a lot of people might think they would be. So having a co-working space which creates kind of a community with the members, provides the business resources that they need. High-speed internet, we'll have a gig of internet speed, provides the access to copy, printer, scanner, fax system that they can utilize. There'll be a conference room, larger training room. It has all the amenities they need, including a coffee bar with free coffee and tea for the members. It has all those things there, but it also has the camaraderie of being with other folks who are in a similar position.
Now, individuals have their own office that they can rent, or is that an option too, or is it just a sit-down workspace?
At this point in time, it's a mix of a couple different types of workspace. We'll have open tables where you just simply go and sit. There'll be some single desks that are partially divided and kind of built into smaller little areas, so you have some semi-autonomy. We won't have private offices available yet. We do have, because the coalition will be officing down there, so myself and my office manager will be down there. We do have one gentleman who is the building owner, and he'll be officing down there in a permanent office. And then we'll have another office available, which will be, we call it the privacy space. As a person who's working in an open station needs to meet, say, with a confidential meeting with a client or whatever, they simply go into the calendar, they mark down and reserve so much time for that office space, and that office is theirs for an hour or two to meet with a client. Same with the conference room, same with the training room. We have small phone booths that will be built in around the facility, so when you need to make or receive a phone call, you drop in the phone booth, sit down, you can make your phone call, the privacy is there, doesn't disturb everybody else in the facility. At some point in time down the road, as we grow and we see what the needs of the members are, there may be an opportunity to add some additional private offices, but with the co-working spaces that we talk to, they're not the in-demand space. It really is about just being able to find a comfortable place to sit and work during the day, because you can work from anywhere in the facility and you're still networked into the copier system, and you have access to the internet. So you could sit right next to the coffee pot all day and be just fine and be able to get all the work done that you need to.
It sounds like a great project, because you see those popping up in different communities, bigger communities especially, where people can go. They don't go to a typical office. In many cases, they can rent one office and do that, and then have will there be secretary and somebody to do that sort of thing, or will that be based on how many people eventually sign up for this?
There won't be at the start, and a lot of the ones that we've looked at, they actually, and some of the more high-tech ones, there's no personnel on site at all. Only members can access the facility, and they kind of police themselves as they do their own thing. It kind of goes back to what membership needs are. As we build this facility and we bring in new members and we see what they need to conduct their business or to conduct the business on behalf of an employer as a telecommuter, we'll look to add those services down the road. We're hoping this also acts as a bit of an incubator, so folks who are who are maybe working at the house in a home-based business, and they're growing to the level where that's no longer viable, which is how the previous owner of the building approached us about partnering on this, because he has a home-based business with employees, and he basically said his wife kicked him out of the basement and said, you got to go. He outgrew the home-based environment. So those are the folks we're looking to appeal to. We're also hoping by reaching out and working with students at the university, we can maybe retain some of the students that will be coming out of programs that could potentially telecommute to an employer and utilize their degree and their training, or even start their own businesses in Hayes and stay in Hayes.
What's the cost?
Right now we're looking at the base membership at $150 a month. There's no lease and everything is included, so it's that $150
including
a
the
month.
coffee.
Including the
You
coffee.
have internet, you have
free,
phone,
and
you have coffee.
We're talking good gourmet coffee too. I'm not making Folgers in the corner.
It's
we're
good stuff.
It's going to be brought in. It's all inclusive. We'll also be able to do by the week or by the day. So if you're a salesman that's coming into town here for 3 days to meet with clients in your region and tired of sitting in the corner of your motel room trying to get work done, this is an opportunity to rent the facility for 3 days and have a workstation and space where they conduct business.
Very cool. If someone wants to find out more, where do they find out more about this? How do they get in the loop to do this?
They can contact the Ellis County Coalition. Our contact, just Google us on the internet, and you can give our office a call or shoot us an email. We have a Facebook page, The Gateway, which is the name of our facility. So we're taking, our bids are coming in today for the contractor work. So when we select our contractor, we'll start updating continuously the timeline for construction, for any information, open houses that we're going to handle for potential, or have for potential members, to introduce them to the space and get feedback from them. We're seeing a lot of interest. We're seeing a lot of folks who, surprisingly, I'm finding a lot of folks that are working in the house or know somebody who's working out of the house and are ready to not be working out of the house anymore.
Yeah, that can be a challenging situation many times. So
Absolutely.
The ribbon cutting, the grand opening for this expected date?
We got to get a timeline yet. We're hoping it'll be first quarter next year, but it'll really depend on how well the renovation goes.
Very good. Well, you know what? You have several other things that we're going to talk about. We're going to take a break first. Come back. Aaron White is our guest here. He's Executive Director of the Ellis County Coalition for Economic Development. Back after this.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Boost, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Boost-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Boost powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Boost. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum program here on Eagle Television. If you have any ideas for future programs, you have any guests you'd like to see right here in this seat, you can send me their name information to gary.shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also find us on Facebook under ECTV Forum. Aaron White's our guest here. He's the Executive Director of the Ellis County Coalition for Economic Development, the people that bring good business, good things to our community. And Aaron, one of those you're working on right now is training. What's going on in the world of training? Because you have a grant that allows you to maybe go after and train people in some certain skills.
Absolutely. One of the things we found early on, and this started about 3 years ago, was that at the time, this was before the dip in the oil prices, which freed up some production workers from the oil fields. But a lot of our manufacturers were telling us they're having a hard time finding labor, particularly welding, which was the issue we were trying to address at that time. And sitting down with them on a number of meetings, they even told us that they don't necessarily want or need a welder. They just need somebody who's willing to come in and learn a trade, be reliable, can come in and they'll train them on the job. But we found we were having a hard time finding the right candidates to get them to there. Sometimes it's just trying to get that person through the HR department. The trainer's saying, oh yeah, I want somebody who's never seen a welder before because I don't have to break bad habits. But the HR person's like, well, if I see somebody who was a clerk at the gas station, I'm going to throw the resume away because they don't have any production experience, and those folks weren't communicating well. So we secured a grant from the Dangy Hansen Foundation to do skilled trades training. And the first program we did was the welding employment training. It was built around a 45-hour curriculum. It was run in the evenings and weekends, so it helped work for folks who are working schedule. This is really targeting people who are already employed. You may not be employed, but have the capacity where they're already employed, but they're looking for a skills upgrade so they can move up in a career. We created the curriculum. We have run 32 students through it across 3 classes, and we had great placement. They learned the basics of welding, basic shop math, some basic blueprint reading, hand positions of how to set up and run, how to do basic welding, the basic beads from the commercial MIG setup. And then we position them to the employers as a better candidate for then going into on-the-job training and finishing their training on the job the way the employer wants them trained. We've had great success with it. The employers were involved with the curriculum. It fed a need in the local manufacturers that was not there. Most of the students were hired. Not all of them welders, but all of them were able to go into production manufacturing. So we thought it was a really good success. The employers were pleased with the candidates they're getting. And we are looking at additional training. What other skill sets can be adapted to this short course format, where there may be entry-level type positions or positions that are easily handled on the job training, where we can give them some basic skill sets that the employer can then build on, and we're making a better candidate to put in front of the HR department and the company. And so we're looking at potential for CDL drivers. We're looking at some basic production labor. We've also had looked at doing G-coding, which is related to robotic type machining processes for machining or welding. We've looked at is there potential for plumbing programs, auto mechanics, whatever is a skilled trade that provides a lot of opportunity for career advancement and can be handled in a realistically short period of time with meaningful training that we pay for, and then we hand them off to the employment sector who is actively seeking those folks.
I was at a dinner at the wedding just this last weekend, and somebody brought up that comment that they were having trouble finding electricians. And trying to find the right people to get started so that you could even start training them, and it fits right into what you're talking about with doing that. Again, that's on your website if you want more information.
Yep, they can contact us. We are looking at what programming we're going to add, so they can just contact the coalition. We'd love to hear from folks. Most of the programming that we've launched with the coalition has been driven by business. It was somebody from the business community or business leader or community leader who came to us and said, I have a problem.
We need this.
Yeah, this is an issue with my company. And then we immediately think, okay, if it's an issue with theirs, is an issue with somebody else's? Because if it's just their company that has that issue, then it's more than likely it's an internal problem of some kind. But if multiple businesses within that industry are all facing the same problem, then it's time for us to sit down and say, okay, what can we do to try and create a solution? And a solution that's repeatable and can be delivered not even outside of Ellis County, because that grant is open to a 9-county area. And we are looking at companies, some of the employees that graduate from the program are actually working outside of Ellis County. They're working in the surrounding communities and living here. So this is a regional approach. Again, strengthening regional communities helps Hayes stay strong.
Is that a little bit how you came across to really the process for rebuilding homes? Because that's another area of concern. People have had struggled trying to figure out how to do that, and now you have a program that works with older homes, how you repurpose those.
Absolutely. Housing, we know, has been an issue. Employers have been telling us, since I came here in 2011, that the ability to find affordable quality workforce housing, and this is geared towards folks who are fully employed, making a good wage, but are want to live in a certain level of housing, but can't afford to or unwilling to pay the cost, because Hayes has been known as having some tight housing, and part of that's because of the university. It's a common problem from university communities, and a lot of older housing stock as well. So a conversation again with a local businessman who said, I had a client who wanted to flip some houses, and for whatever the reason is, he couldn't get the financing together to flip these houses, and he's a retired contractor. And my first thought is, it's a shame that a guy who built houses for a living can't flip houses in his retirement. So we started talking to some other folks, and we ultimately created the Ellis County Housing Rehab Program. It's intended, again, a tremendous thanks to the Dane G. Hansen Foundation. We secured a grant from them, looking at this as kind of a test bed. We are providing a revolving loan fund, and anybody who's qualified, an eligible applicant, can come to us and with a project. And if the project's approved by our loan committee, we will lend them the money to both purchase and renovate a home. They don't have to put in any money of their own. No money down, no debt service while they're doing the rehab. They repay the loan plus a flat $2,500 fee on the back end after the home is sold. So it's a great deal because they're using our money to rebuild housing stock anywhere in Ellis County. It doesn't have to be within city limits. It can be anywhere in Ellis County. We have 4 criteria that they have to meet. First is they have 9 months to complete the project. We want these projects to turn. We have a limited pool of funds to draw from, so we don't want them to sit on any given project for too long. Second, they have to do at least $10,000 in renovations. So this is not intended for folks to just try and do a quick flip and make a little bit of money on it. This is intended.
This is not a coat of paint upgrade. This is we're actually upgrading the house and substantial changes.
Exactly. Third, they're capped at $145,000 on the sale price, and that would include that $2,500 service fee. That price is kind of in the middle of the price range. We call it 120 to 180. That can be tough to find in Hayes. And fourth is the home has to go to a single owner, to a buyer, an owner occupant. It can't be used as a rental property or some sort of investment property. It needs to go to a regular, traditional homeowner who will use a traditional mortgage tool to pick it up and live in the home. We've completed 2 projects. The first project that was completed has already sold. The second project that was completed is on the market. We reviewed a few other projects. We've asked them to retweak their applications, because one of the things our loan committee looks to do is to make sure that it's a viable project, their application is realistic in their estimate of the rehab, their sale price is realistic for the house they're creating in the market and the community they're in or the neighborhood they're in. And then we want to make sure that they're going to be successful. So we're still looking for applications. We have funds available. It's a pretty seamless process. And we're ready to turn more houses. We think we can turn, once we really get going, we think we can turn 6 to 10 houses a year under that program.
Very interesting. Now you have 2018. It's just around the corner here. You're working. You're doing some I say revamping, but you're looking for new members on your board. You're doing some things there. What's happening between now and the end of the year and 2018?
Absolutely. With discussions, any organization needs to freshen itself up. At times. So we are moving our organizational structure in a little different direction, and that's the first thing we're doing is going to start out with a fresh board. We actually have a core of 5 current board members who were selected by vote of my existing board, who will transition across in the next year, and then they are selecting the next 8. And we're looking for folks in the community who are interested in getting involved in the organization, who are interested in putting in the work to try and make Hayes a better community, who are interested in seeing the community grow, seeing the economy grow. And so we're going to be taking applications. Again, you can reach out to our office for a copy of the application, and then they'll be doing a review of those folks. We want to have the new board in place by end of December and approved by the end of December, so they'll actually start come January.
And the thing you're doing, you have some real projects that are going to make a meaningful difference in Ellis County.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're really excited about that. We're getting more aggressive on our recruitment efforts. We had an intern who helped put together a packet of businesses that I've identified using certain parameters that we think are targets for bringing out of their state. They're in states that are losing business because of unfriendly business climate and areas that are unfavorable for labor. We're looking to reach out to other businesses to see how we can better leverage the internet speeds that can be delivered in Hayes. I mean, we have the capacity to deliver a gig of internet speed to businesses, so we need to find out who really requires that type of broadband access and see if we can bring them to the community. That's part of what the co-working space is about. Obviously, we've been working on a lot of retail projects with the mall owners and the mall management team, with Tebow Village, with the new proposed property next to Home Depot. There's a lot of good retail leads that we've been working with these businesses and these owners, helping them build a case for attraction in Hays. And there's a lot of retail that's looking at Hays, taking a hard look at Hays right now. They're in the process of negotiating contracts, so hopefully we'll see some of those land.
Pretty exciting to see that. The rumors are all out in front, but until they get signed and those companies make those announcements, I know you sat in the role of let's find them, let's get them here, and let's help Hays continue to grow.
Absolutely, and I would suggest everybody not to take the rumors to heart when they hear rumors about retail. Who is or is not going to come? I remember when Hobby Lobby came, we actually directly recruited Hobby Lobby in and put them in touch with the property owner. And I remember seeing commentary on the internet and through Facebook that all types of folks were just posting up, oh, Hobby Lobby's not coming, it's just a rumor. Somebody even posted a comment, said they talked to somebody at Hobby Lobby, and Hobby Lobby told them personally that they were never coming to Hays because Hays was too small. And I read that comment, and I flipped over the binder, and there's the contract that Hobby Lobby had to come to Hays. So it's like, the rumors are not always true.
Well, it's good to have you a part of the team and the board that donates their time to be a part of that as well. Aaron, thank you for being on our program today. Aaron White is the Executive Director of the Ellis County Coalition for Economic Development, and keep fighting for Ellis County and the whole region out here.
Thank you, we will, absolutely.
Thanks and have a terrific day. You're watching The Forum on Eagle Television. It's brought to you by Hays Med and by Eagle Communications, our community connected.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.